Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement, your no-hype source for financial advice in making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, good morning, St. Louis, and welcome to Straight Talk on Retirement. You're live and local, St. Louis's favorite financial call-in shop. I'm Jeff Lapidus, president of JBL Financial Services. Our office are located in beautiful Clearing. It's a little cool this morning, downtown Olivet, Missouri. I'm a 40-plus year veteran of the financial services area, a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And I'm joined by my very able, capable crew. My daughter, Aaron Lapidus, who also is a fee-based financial planner and wealth manager. And Rob Markham, our life and annuity fixed insurance specialist.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We help our clients make smart choices about their money. The way we do that is by designing a game plan, a written step-by-step strategy, a real game plan that has several goals in mind.
First is to protect, preserve, and prudently grow the assets our clients have taken their entire lifetimes to accumulate. Second is to deliver a reliable stream of income, one that they can count on, so they can do all the things they like to do during retirement.
And third is cost-effectively addressing their health care needs, like helping individuals enroll in Medicare and choosing the right plan to couple with their Medicare coverage.
And then when they're done enjoying their assets during their lifetime, we show them how to pass them on to the people they love, whether it's their spouses or children, grandchildren, churches, or charities, whoever it might be, without Uncle Sam or the tax courts taking a big bite out of their money. And as their wealth managers, Aaron and I watch their money every single day to make sure they're staying on track. And that's why they call us the retirement coaches. Gang, again, good morning. Good morning, everybody out in Radio Land. Welcome to the show. It's Sunday. It's fun day.
It's not Sunday.
Okay. Saturday.
It's not.
I slept through, so I'm still asleep this morning. But we do want to thank everybody for joining us this morning in the show. Just as a reminder, first one maybe for this week, that next week we will be early, starting at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time.
Go Mizzou.
Go Mizzou. Go wherever you want to go Mizzou, and we'll be on from 7 to 9 in the morning. But we are here today. We're live and local. We'd love to hear from you. Our phone lines are always open. Give us a call, 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. And as a reminder, all of our clients are folks like you. They're our listeners. They're 55 and older. They would like to retire, or they're already retired. And we create a game plan for them that have the goals of creating a fun, financially successful, and hopefully worry-free retirement. So I guess, what should we start with, babe?
The newsletter.
Okie dokie.
You can access it by going onto our website, jblfinancial.com. If you click in the lower left-hand pop-up box that appears, it says Sign Up. You can sign up for our monthly newsletter. We call it the Coach's Corner. In the upper right-hand box, though, you can also click Contact Us. So if you have a question, you'd like to schedule a coaching session, you can leave us a message there. As our last Saturday of October, Halloween weekend.
There you go.
U.S. deficit is lower for now. I guess that's kind of scary.
For what, 2 days?
Right. Retirement savings in a volatile market. So, some strategies for what to do in a bear market with your retirement planning. Finally, last two articles. Consider a bonds ladder for rising interest rates. So this would be, as opposed to purchasing just a single bond or purchasing all your bonds at one time, potentially either purchasing bonds over a period of time or purchasing bonds that have maturities that end at different periods of time.
And this can also be done with certificates of deposit as well.
Right.
Yeah, the idea is to stack your maturities so that you can then reinvest reasonably quickly over time. Take advantage of a rising interest rate market.
I was also going to say, in a rising interest rate market, this also works nicely with the laddering if you're buying it over an extended period of time, because if you think about even making purchases from June of this year until now, see a pretty significant rise in even the one-year Treasury.
There you go. We're up to 4% now.
Yeah, I think significantly over it now. 4.6, I think. Small businesses are short-staffed and overwhelmed. Maybe not for long.
That's the rumor.
Right. We'll have a new newsletter for our early morning show next week.
That's right. And just as a reminder, Erin and her staff do keep the last 6 to 8 months of those archived for your viewing, printing, or downloading convenience.
That is right.
Right. In hour number 2, we're going to have Frank Ellison in the studio with us, our Medicare expert.
Yes, we are.
To answer your questions, talk about a couple of fun situations he's seen this week, as we also like to do. Again, our phone lines are open. You have questions about your retirement accounts, Medicare, wills and trusts, income taxes. We're here to answer those questions, 931-5877 or 84126 from the currently quiet, but we know will be heating up very soon, text line. And so while we're waiting for your calls and texts, what I'd like to do is talk about a little bit about an email I received earlier this week. It's kind of fun. This was from Sam, and he's a client of ours. He recently retired in July. It's kind of fun because we had been planning for this with him over several years, and we finally kind of got to the finish line. And he moved about $740,000 from his 401k to a traditional IRA account. And the purpose was so that he could then have access to the money, we could create the retirement income that he wanted. But he had forgotten about a small cash balance plan, which his employer had created, which had about $14,000. And he forwarded the plan sponsor's email to me, which included paperwork describing his options should he want to take that money.
Sure.
And that makes sense to do that. And so what he said was,
he was thinking of having them send him the check for $14,000 directly, and that he understands they'll withhold 20%. And then he can send the balance to you to put into his IRA. Does that sound right?
No.
I love these quick and easy answers. Probably not the best way. A better option would have been for him to do a direct transfer. Custodian to custodian. That's hard to say when you're...
Think it's Sunday?
Well, when you think it's Sunday and you got a little bit of congestion here. So the old plan, his current plan, they have to withhold 20% if they send it to you. In
directly.
This case, exactly. If they do a custodian to custodian transfer, they don't have to do that. It'll be considered a tax-free transfer. He can pay the taxes when he decides that he wants to as he begins to withdraw the money instead of up front. Otherwise, the IRS has 20% in federal income taxes, and he's going to have to apply for a refund to get the money back.
Could we just take a quick step back, which is I don't know if everybody is familiar with how cash balance plans work.
Okay.
I thought maybe you could describe.
Sure. I mean, what happens is these are plans that are created in many cases where defined benefit pensions are being substituted for what you might think of as the old way would have been like a profit-sharing plan, a defined contribution plan. Instead of a matching plan, the employer is putting in all the money. What's cool is that for him, obviously, it was vested because he'd worked there for a while. But, you know, the real issue here is, should he take the money and hand it back to us? We know that there is a 60-day rule that you can use, all people can use, where if you make a distribution from a retirement plan, you have 60 days to put it back into an IRA before you have to declare it as income. But when you do that, you're subject to this 20% withholding. Doesn't make a lot of sense.
And also the company that offers, just like if you were to do this with a 401k plan, they are going to withhold. You don't have an option.
Right.
So it's not going to be like, oh, well, I'll just have the check sent to me and ask them not to withhold. They're required by law, unfortunately, the IRS says, that they need to withhold that 20%. And then it's the participant, in this case Sam's, it would have been his responsibility to go get the refund from that money. And when we're talking about $14,000, it doesn't seem significant. But if we had been talking about the $740,000,
yeah, the taxes could have been, that would have been
right.
a significant
even more significant
slug, as it would
right.
be. So I guess the bottom line here is that if Sam had, and I mentioned this to him, is that if he decided the day after he made the transfer to his IRA plan that he wanted all the money back, that's fine, but we still aren't subject to the 20% withholding. He could determine
what his taxes should be.
Exactly, and we could withhold state as well as federal taxes for him. So I think the moral of the story here is that it was smart that he obviously called somebody that could give him some additional information, maybe some advice, but let's do it right to start. That's the whole point. Do it the right way to start. It makes it easier. Unless you're, the only time that I see that it makes any sense, and folks do consider doing this, is with after-tax contributions that are inside of their retirement plans. They usually have an option of either moving that into a Roth,
or just taking the money home with
right.
them.
And there is no tax withholding on that.
And, I think that raises a very good point, which is if you happen to be an individual where you're approaching retirement, you have money, you probably have the majority of your money in pre-tax contributions. You were making them, your employer was probably matching to some level. Then more recently, they introduced the Roth 401k, which allows you to make after-tax contributions. Or if you had been to be somebody that's been working for a long enough period of time, maybe you have after-tax contributions in your traditional 401k. So there's opportunity to split some dollars out. We find that a lot of people entering retirement need a little bit of extra cash on hand to start things off. Or maybe there are people that haven't had the opportunity to build up their vault or their savings. This could be a good opportunity. Roths are great, but this could be a good opportunity for you to take a piece of that home with you. You don't pay taxes on it because it's after-tax money, and create your vault or create your little safety net for if you are someone waiting for Social Security to start or waiting for a pension to start, to make a little buffer for yourself. Or you're planning a retirement trip.
Yes, and just as an FYI, the interest earnings that you had or growth on your contributions are considered pre-tax.
So they end up back in the 401k.
Exactly. They're rolled in. If you want to think about it, they're actually included in that distribution that you're making to that traditional IRA, whereas you're really just getting your money back.
And the cool thing is your retirement plan will break this all out for you.
Yes.
You don't have to do any of the math. Obviously, you can check it, but you don't have to do any of this work. They're going to show you, just like Sam received paperwork that says, what would you like to do with this cash balance plan? When you're preparing for retirement, most employers either offer paperwork or you're able to go online, and the online is simply the electronic version of paperwork that others receive, which is giving you these options. Do you want to roll this over to another IRA, meaning doing a trustee-to-trustee transfer, 401k to IRA? Do you want to roll it to another employer plan? Are you leaving one job and going to another? You'd have the opportunity to move that. Or do you want to do this third option, which Sam was looking at, which is you just want to take the money home, and they're going to say, this is how much we're going to withhold that 20% in taxes. With the other options, if you want to take a piece of it home, then you're able to siphon that out too.
And as you know, if you are in a situation where you're considering retirement or you've actually begun through this process, before you take those distributions, your plan sponsor will give you probably anywhere from 2 to 4 page disclosure about what these options are.
Right, and what the implications are tax-wise and everything.
And they're primarily written in Swahili, but it's a good idea. When you're considering making this move, not that you're not going to do it in the right way, but so that you can really truly, discuss your options. Is get with your financial advisor, talk about this, and when we're doing these with clients, what we usually do is most of these can now be done over the telephone.
Right.
So we're having a 3-way call that's set up between the plan sponsor, our client, and obviously us. And what we're then doing is basically we're taking control of the telephone, and we're talking our way through those options so that things work smoothly.
Right. Our client gives us permission to speak on their behalf, and then we provide account numbers, mailing addresses. Now, I know we have a lot, and we get a lot of questions about this, not only for individuals during the process, but we get a lot of email questions about this, which is people have received checks in the mail from their 401k companies.
Right.
That does not mean that you received the check. I mean, you physically received it, but you're not able to cash that check unless you asked for the money with the taxes withheld. If you asked for a transfer into another retirement plan, or you asked for a transfer into your IRA account with your new advisor after you've retired, some plans, unfortunately, still mail paper checks to the address of record of the former employee. But those checks are going to be made out to the former employee plus the name of the custodian, or in the name of their new IRA, which means the only place that check can be deposited is into that former employee's new IRA account or their new plan sponsor account. So that still is considered a trustee-to-trustee transfer, because you couldn't take that check and go to the bank and say, cash this for me, please.
Yes, so there is some security there for you, and nobody else can either.
That's right. That's security, but also I think sometimes there's confusion because they literally received the money, versus like, did we do this correctly? Unfortunately, some companies still have rules that won't allow for what they call wire transfers or direct transfers electronically from your employer plan into the new plan that you selected. So
yeah, I mean, I do have a funny story. At least I thought it was funny. With one of our clients, he was.
This is an old one, a good
true.
one though.
He was an electrician that was retiring, and we had visited, and he had a rollover of about $1.4 million. And I guess a week or so went by. We were supposed to get together and again, obviously, do the whole telephone discussion for the transfer. I hadn't heard from him, and he gives me a call and says, "Jeff, I have this check for you." I'm like, "Okay." So he happened to be very close to the office. He stopped by, and he hands me the check, and it's made out to JBL Financial.
Where are we going?
For $1.4 million. Right. So my first thought was, I'm going to the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. Am I going to invite him to come with me? So, we're not permitted to. It really has to be made out of, as Aaron was saying again, would be in his name and the name of the new plan sponsor, FBO, for the benefit of his IRA. So I took the check and didn't go to the Bahamas, went down to the Union Hall, dropped off the check, and about a week and a half later they reissued it in the correct way and sent it directly to the custodian.
And that's not only true of retirement dollars, but that's true of any investable assets that our clients entrust us with, which is if they're writing checks from savings accounts or money market accounts or transferring after-tax dollars, nothing's made out to us unless they're sending us on a vacation or buying us a really nice gift. Everything is made out either in the name of our custodian, which is LPL Financial, or in the name of the client for the benefit of their account.
Yes, and that's where folks that got involved with Bernie Madoff had issues because they weren't making their checks out to the custodian. They were making it out to his company, and so you didn't have any FDIC protection.
SPIC.
Thank you, SPIC protection, which is cool. It's all good. So now you know the way to do it, how to do it, and
any pitfalls you might see along the way.
You can always call us at 314-863-0008. That's easy. We do have a couple of other subjects we want to talk about. We do want to remind everybody, though, that our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you. Yeah. Love to hear from you. Eric is willing, able, and waiting for your calls at 931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Aaron, I know that you and Rob had a very interesting coaching session this week.
I do, but I think before we get into it, we should probably take our first break of the hour, don't you think?
Well, you have the calm, Mr. Savick, so we're definitely going to do that. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your insurance and fixed annuity specialist.
This is Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, that you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email, jeff@jblfinancial.com, to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Gas Appliance Service and the Fireplace and Grill Center can get your fires burning for the upcoming holidays. Call now and get ahead. New gas logs will make your home warm and inviting when you're entertaining or curled up on the sofa with a good book. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport, or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Don't wait. Now's the time for the best service, selection, and prices.
Hi, this is Terry Hall. Sundays at 1, Bedtime in America, where you learn about all of the benefits that you have earned. But we also do real estate, because I do This Week in Real Estate. Sundays at 1, right here on the Big 550, Bedtime in America and This Week in Real Estate. Join us, because who else are you going to learn this stuff from? I'm Terry Hall. I am your bedtime and real estate expert. See you Sunday at 1.
Hey, ladies, ready to order appetizers?
I don't think I should. I'm trying to cut back on spending lately.
Didn't you download that Upside app I told you about? The one that gets you cash back.
Oh, no, I didn't. Is it really worth it?
Yes, because of cash back from Upside, I haven't had to cut back, even with prices getting extremely high lately.
Wow. And what do you get cash back on again?
You get money back on gas, groceries, and it works at restaurants. Look, I'd get 37% cash back on this meal, including on drinks and apps.
All right, I'm sold. You order the apps, I'm buying and getting the cash back on Upside.
Oh no, I've created a monster.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code APPS for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Remember, use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase. Don't cut back. Get cash back with the free app from Upside.
Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Woo-hoo. We're back. 927 here on the Big 550 KTRS. Talk Radio St. Louis. Babe, I know that before you cut me off, asked me to go to break.
Someone's got to do it.
Well, you trying to take your mother's job? What the hell?
I could never do it as well.
Absolutely. So I know that you and Rob were going to talk a little bit about a coaching session you had earlier this week.
That's right.
Okay.
If Rob wants to lean in.
Oh, I thought. Well,
speak.
We were lucky enough to meet with John this week. He came in for a coaching session. He's a retired welder, 71 years old. His wife passed away a few years ago, but he's got 2 great kids, 2 adorable grandkids.
John has 2 IRAs that he's had with us for some time, and they're worth about $700,000. We asked John to come in and see us because he is turning 72 this year, so we wanted to have the opportunity to start talking to him about his required minimum distributions that he'll need to take from those IRA accounts. With $700,000, his first required minimum distribution is going to be about $28,000.
And he's got about 60 days to do it.
That's right. Normally, for our process, we like to meet with people right at the beginning of the year to make that decision. But if it's your first time around and you want some time to think about it, then we just drag you back in towards the end of the year.
And John's in a great place. Really great. His house is paid off. He's got no debt. His Social Security and pension more than meet his income needs. He doesn't really need the distributions from his IRA to make his life work. I think they call those guys rock stars.
You know what? And that's probably the reason why John needed a little bit of time to think about what he wanted to do with this extra $28,000 that's going to be taxable to him. Since he isn't one of our clients that needs distributions from their retirement accounts to make his life work on a monthly basis, this really became excess taxable income that we were going to have to deal with. So we needed some time to think things over.
Absolutely, and we know that the only real way, true way, that he can reduce that taxable income liability is by making charitable contributions directly from his IRA.
That is correct.
It really wasn't what he was thinking about, was it?
No.
No, he was more concerned with the tax consequences for his children or possibly his grandchildren of inheriting these IRAs.
Yeah, John knew since his wife had passed away, unfortunately, the heirs of his retirement plans were going to be his children and his grandchildren. So at $700,000, that's about, $175,000 per beneficiary potentially. And now that the rules have changed, those beneficiaries are going to have to distribute that money over a 10-year period versus over the course of their life.
In addition to that...
Well, yeah, right, but one thing before that, though, because we actually even had a rule clarification, is that they don't get to wait for 10 years, the full 10 years to pull the money out, because John is actually receiving required minimum distributions. When they inherit those IRAs, no matter who it is, the kids or the grandkids, they're going to have to continue to take required minimum distributions also from those, and then still have the accounts empty by the end of 10 years.
So this is an interesting, just to pause quickly, because I don't think we had the full, I didn't read the full article yet. I don't know if you have. Now that it's been split 4 ways potentially for John, would each beneficiary have to take $28,000, or do they have to take the same percentage John was taking of the amount that they've inherited?
I believe that they have to take, the rules are going to be the same, which is they have to take the required minimum distribution based on their age, but they still have to have the account. So in other words, for the grandkids, assuming they're over the age of 18, if they're under the age of 18 when they inherit the money, they get a little bit of a break. But you might say it's maybe 3%. So if somebody was inheriting, if it was today $175,000, 3% is about $1,700. Right. 3,000 is about, that's about $4,700 a year. So each of them would have to pull $4,700. Even if they did that for 10 years, they still got a hunk of money left that they have to pull out by the end of the 10th year.
Well, his current IRA is $700,000, and it will continue to grow. It's not unreasonable to assume that over the next 20 years it could double.
Yeah, I think you're right, Rob, because based on the rule of 72, which means if you take an interest rate or an interest assumption, tells you how long it takes for that money to double. If he was able to earn, as an example, an average of, let's say, 3.5% net, that money's going to double.
In 20 years.
Right. And I would say that if John is prudently investing based on his risk tolerances, he's probably in a moderate portfolio, which means he has about 60% in stocks, 40% in bonds. If that was the case, it isn't unfair or unreasonable to assume that the money could double. In which case, now we're talking about not 175 in today's dollars, but in 20 years' dollars, we're talking about 350 for each beneficiary.
That's not a small amount of money, so what did you suggest, Rob?
Well, given that he doesn't need the RMDs to make his life work, rock star, what if we took a portion of the RMDs to buy some life insurance so that, the beneficiaries would get an income tax-free death benefit that he could use to pay the taxes on these IRAs?
Buying money on the cheap. That's what life insurance really is. So that's cool. So I was going to say, Rob, I know that in doing your calculation, you made an estimate the IRA might be worth $1.4 million, that the income tax rate was about 25%. So therefore, $350,000 was a perfect number.
It seemed like it would fit, and that's why I chose a life insurance with a $350,000 face. The premium was almost $1,400 a month, which worked out great because John's RMDs were roughly $2,400 a month. And that would be guaranteed level premium for life.
But what if John didn't want to pay the premium forever?
Too bad he stopped. No, kidding. No, we can shorten that to a 10-year pay, and that meaning he pays for 10 years and then it stops. The premium would only increase from $1,380 to $1,850. So it was roughly $500 increase, still well within the RMD budget.
I think what's really cool here is that what John was actually able to do was to increase the size of his estate at his death, and at the same time reduce the cost of the shrinkage, because we know that Uncle Sam has to get paid.
Right.
And there's just no way around that. And that as compared to the possibility, I hate to use the word, Roth conversion, which is to start converting this IRA, paying taxes, current individual income tax rate, the insurance premiums are just a more cost-effective alternative.
Well, I think we could even do the math on that quickly. So if we use the 10-year pay, for example, with John, he's going to pay over 10 years $222,000 of premium.
Right, as compared to a $350,000 income tax-free death benefit. So that's great. The cool part is that I know that if he's creating one contract, he could then have 4 beneficiaries, right? Because he's got 2 children, 2 grandchildren.
Absolutely.
And so then, Rob, I know that our process is once a year we're meeting with our clients, talking about how they want to handle these RMDs. And at the same time, he can then adjust the beneficiaries.
We can update them, make sure they reflect his current wishes. Absolutely.
No cost.
This is true.
Just a beneficiary change form. So
Great.
Turns out to be, I think, again, a very effective solution for John.
Right.
In what he was able to do. And, something certainly I know he's going to give some good consideration to, which is kind of fun.
Absolutely.
Good.
Indeed.
Again, our phone lines are open. We'd love to hear from you this morning. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from this surprisingly quiet.
I know. Everybody was we got some great questions last week. Maybe everyone's tired.
It's
holiday weekend.
I bet you nobody would know if we did them again.
The question from last week. They were good ones.
I'm sure that I'm sure that they would. So, in the past couple of weeks, I would say that what's fun when we're visiting with folks is kind of getting the number one question, which is, am I a rock star? And we're asked this all the time because we do talk about folks. We characterize folks as rock stars.
What is a rock star for our new listeners?
Well, a rock star is someone that has more cash flow and or more capital than is necessary to fund their retirement income needs. They're within that safety zone of less than a 4% withdrawal rate, which is considered prudent to make their retirement work. So when you've got more cash flow or more capital or both, you're a rock star. That's what we call you. So let's talk about a couple that we saw. One, Paul and his wife Judy. Paul's 63. He's a salesman. Very honorable profession.
Indeed.
And his wife Judy is 61, and she's currently the chief, like your mom is. She's the chief operations officer for the household. I call your mom the chief mom officer because she also manages your mom and your grandma, both grandmas.
I can't remember where I saw someone literally use that phrase somewhere else. It's weird. It was in an article.
Might have to get your mom a T-shirt with that, right? CMO, Chief Mom Officer. They have about $900,000 in retirement assets and about $40,000 in their vault, which is their savings. And their mortgage is paid off. It's been for the last 2 years.
That's really cool.
Well, it's great. So, and that's also one of the characteristics of rock stars. Generally, folks that have no mortgage, which is usually their highest obligation.
Well, if you think about,
unless of course they go to the grocery store now and they find out what food prices are.
Milk.
Were you telling me it was $6 a gallon?
$6.59 for brand name milk. $6.59 for milk. What do they put in it?
What do you have to put in it to make it taste good? Your mom likes milk water. Skim milk. I hate that.
I don't think they charge.
I like 2% milk. That's what I was brought up on.
Well, this guy drinks whole milk.
Well, he's a big guy, so we understand.
But I don't think they charge different prices based on the percentage of fat, really?
They do.
Oh, the milk expert.
You should see if they want that for regular milk. God only knows what they want for the organic.
Yeah, Rob's got his own personal shopping cart. He understands.
I walk the aisles of the stores for fun.
For fun. Aggravation to see what the prices are? Gosh.
Thinking about a Johnny Cash song right now. So, anyways, after
Ring of Fire?
No, Walk the Line. So their income goal was about $6,000 per month. And again, this is an after-tax amount, how much they're spending, And we always like to increase that by 20%, right?
Right. So they really needed about $7,200 a month to net that $6,000 that they're used to. So Paul was lucky enough to have a pension of $2,000 a month plus his Social Security benefit when he reaches normal retirement age is going to be out $2,800 a month.
And Judy's Social Security is going to be half that since she was the chief mom officer, assuming she waits until her normal retirement age. And so that means they're only short about $1,000 a month. Wee-hee.
Wow. It's $12,000 a year.
So in reality, if we need $12,000 a year, if we divide that by 4%, which is the prudent withdrawal rate, that tells us that they need $300,000 of capital, which I like to call the milk money.
Right. Those are the assets that we need in order to generate the income stream that Paul and Judy would like.
Now, on the face of that, as we mentioned earlier, they have about $900,000 in retirement assets, so they're definitely in woohoo, Phil, right?
Right. They're basically at a 1% withdrawal rate, 1.5%.
But the nice thing is that, again, the part of the analysis we just did was really when all the faucets are turned on.
Right.
When they both reach their normal retirement age, assuming that they waited that long to take their Social Securities.
Oh, but Paul is only 63.
That's right.
Judy is like 25.
Yeah, she's 61. So we know that if they were to decide, if they, and if we were to recommend that they wait for taking their Social Security benefits basically from now until 2025, they would need about $5,200 a month, which is $7,200 less Paul's $2,000 pension, times 12 months, times 3 years, which is about $187,000.
So if we take the $187 and we add it to the milk money.
Right. That means they really need $487. They've got $900, assuming no increase in investment.
Growth.
No
Nothing.
growth.
They're still rock stars.
I was waiting for you to woohoo, but I'm going to do it. Woohoo!
You do that so much better than I wouldn't want to take it from you.
I've had practice. I'm good on the Tarzan yell, too, but we won't do that one on the air.
Or I know all the lyrics to that song.
Yeah, I mean, nobody could do it like Johnny Weissmuller.
It's way before my time.
You have no idea who that is. But if you're not a grown-up...
Well, he's strong as he could be.
Well,
George of the Jungle.
Well, he was an Olympic swimmer, too, by the way.
Oh.
That's why. But those were fun. Those were fun movies.
It's a great fun I wish that was a Jeopardy question.
What do you mean?
I will get it right. What you just said.
What,
Johnny was an Olympic swimmer.
Well, sure. I mean, you're too young to understand these things.
Oh, to understand.
No, it's funny. I mean, when I was growing up, those were just like movies you watched, sort of like Ma and Pa Kettle.
Right.
Which you wouldn't sit for more than 3 minutes because it was too slow.
Because I was too busy watching Missing in Action 2 and Jaws.
Right.
Right.
Well, you're watching the fun stuff.
Right.
Or Francis the Talking Mule.
Who's what?
See.
I mean, I remember Mr. Ed.
All the grown-ups out there that are listening to you go, yeah, we dig. We understand you.
I think people are impressed that I know who Mr. Ed is.
Yeah, that's the talking horse.
Right. That's the only one I know.
Of course. Well, anyways, there were movies that that were before the movie series.
You know what? They don't make them like they used to.
No, they don't. They certainly don't. And they don't make shows like they used to, which is why we're rambling this morning. But it's
well, perfect time for our second break of the hour.
That's right. So don't touch that dial. Yeah. We're going to wake up, and we'll be right back after these messages.
This is Erin Lapidus, the retirement coach. Wouldn't it be great to have a game plan, a real strategy, so that no matter what was going on in the stock market, the economy, or the world, you could be confident about your retirement? Wouldn't that be great? If you're within 5 years of retirement, call me today at 314-863-0008. That's 314-863-0008. Or send me an email at aaron@jblfinancial.com to arrange your free coaching session. Let's get started on your retirement game plan today.
Gas Appliance Service and the Fireplace and Grill Center can get your fires burning for the upcoming holidays. Call now and get ahead. New gas logs will make your home warm and inviting when you're entertaining or curled up on the sofa with a good book. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport, or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter-mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Wait, now's the time for the best service, selection, and prices.
Attention homeowners, if you're selling, I'm buying. This is Mike Robinson, Robank Properties, and I'm not like the other people you hear on the radio. They make offers loaded with contingencies like, I think I need my partner to see it, or we will need an inspection, or whatever. I call that monkey business. You win an offer straight up? Call me, Mike Robinson, Robank Properties, 314-283-0867. That's Robank Properties, 314-283-0867. 314-283-0867, or visit us online at robankproperties.com.
Need to know more? Take it from Nancy of Maplewood.
The whole process was stress-free and with no unexpected surprises. Mike went above and beyond to make sure the entire experience went smoothly. And their A-plus Better Business Bureau rating and 5-star Google rating gave me peace of mind.
Or how about Larry in St. Louis County?
Selling our home to Mike was accomplished quickly and professionally. The whole process allowed us to move and not have to hassle with listing our property for a long time and getting everything done to close our new home.
Robank Properties, 314-283-0867.
The Inside Out Show with John Shea and David Sherwood.
John, I got aluminum wiring. David, when's the best time to mow?
Get your Inside Out questions ready and call 314-931-5877 or text to 84126.
Guys, I got a really big squirrel problem.
John Shea and David Sherwood. With the Inside Out Show every Saturday 11 to 1 on the Big 550 KTRS. Now, back to Straight Talk on Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
946 here on the Big 550 KTRS Talk Radio St. Louis. We're back with some more Straight Talk on Retirement. Here to answer your questions and your text. 314-931-5877. Wake up, Eric, back there in the booth. Or 84126 from the Reawakened.
It's ready to go.
Text line.
We're on the move.
And we've got them rolling in, and let me just read this one. Someone writes, I am not a rock star. When I hear these success stories, I feel so inadequate and embarrassed that I just don't do anything, and I know I should.
So I know this was more of a comment and less of a question, but I thought it was important because we've met with quite a few people over the years that are not rock stars yet. But I would say there are a lot of people that are a lot closer than they think that they are.
Well, I think the other thing is that one thing that makes it difficult to not get a whoop is that the path isn't clear.
Right, right.
And there have been many folks that are dealing with, especially debt obligations. What not necessarily high credit card balances, etc., but mortgages, student loans, home equity loan debt. Figuring out a way, in some cases, of how to manage this better or liquidate it once those expenses fall out of their monthly cash flow budgets.
The whole world really opens up.
Exactly. And we've had many folks that, frankly, our job was, and
to
it really
help them
was kind
go
of
through
fun.
that first step.
Right. And they followed our advice, and we systematically got rid of debt in the right way. We talked about a little bit about this last week, which is,
a hierarchy.
Hierarchy of debt, dealing with the highest interest cards first, and or interest rates first, making our way down, then taking that savings,
either putting it towards the rest of your debt to liquidate it faster, or then now you've created a new piggy bank for yourself to create some retirement savings where you thought there might not have been. I also think that there's so much negativity around finances and around retirement, and there's so many articles written in very didactic ways where it's like, you must do this, you must have that. If you do this, all is lost. When in reality, most of our decisions are shades of gray, and there are a lot of pieces that people leave out, and I would say there are a lot of pieces that conventional wisdom leaves out. For example, when we were talking about Paul and Judy, a large portion of their retirement income is going to come from Social Security.
Yes, it certainly is, and
it's an important piece to factor in, which many people do not. When you're a little bit further out from retirement than maybe 5 years, when you feel like it's not really on the horizon for you,
or ever will be.
Right. There are a lot of things out there that are just going to make it feel further away. But getting started when you're it's always a good time to get started. It's never too late.
Yeah, I would say a couple things. Number one is do not ever look at a retirement calculator. Because the problem is the assumptions are impossible. No one in the world could retire with
not
a
even Jimmy Buffett.
Inflation rate of 4%. It's just impossible. But in this last example that we did of these folks that were rock stars, if you notice, what we did was we started at the end, which is when were all the faucets turned on. I think that's what you're referring to, honey, is take a piece of paper and write down how much are my Social Security benefits. Do I have a pension? What do we estimate that's going to be? Do I have rental income, as an example? What will that be? Do I have? Am I going to work part-time? What will that be?
Is my spouse going to keep working?
That's right. Figure out where you're going to be at the very end when you really want to say, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
What is that income flow, and how does that compare to your current after-tax spending? I mean, you may find that mortgage or those credit card payments, or that maybe you're making temporarily because you're paying off maybe a home renovation, etc., when they fall out, or those car payments, when they fall out, you're a lot closer than you think. And then it's just a matter of, okay, pedal to the metal, nose to the grindstone, let's deal with these obligations. Let's also make some let's make some real decisions about savings. Maybe increasing your retirement plan contributions for a limited amount of time.
Right, or decreasing them for a limited amount of time if you're looking at liquidating some debt, so then down the line we can increase them again. First of all, a lot of these things aren't zero-sum games. You don't have to be all or nothing. And I would say that the best thing to do to get started is maybe sit down with someone.
Yes.
As long as they're offering, like we do, no cost, no obligation coaching sessions, maybe you're not a good prospect to have an advisor yet, but you are a good prospect to have a conversation with a financial professional to maybe open your eyes to a few things that you aren't seeing, because when we're in the thick of something and when it's all your own money, you create emotional attachments to it. And Dad, you were just talking to me this morning on a different topic about how people just go through life and there's income coming in and we're able to keep our heads above water, so we just keep moving along, moving forward, as opposed to creating an actual direction or a path, or we have somewhere we want to get to and everything else doesn't matter, so we're just going to keep moving along. Well, having an outside perspective, someone coming in and saying, hey, these things are great, let's maybe just shift a few things, or did you recognize or notice a few things that maybe you've left out, could be invaluable to you, not only to your mental state, because it sounds like, this is something that Texter wants to do, but, is a little intimidated to do, but it could really pay a lot of dividends for you in terms of getting to retirement faster or enjoying the retirement that you're going to have.
Honey, I think that was very well put. And I would just say, and I hope folks that are listening to us realize this, or they maybe think about it this way. This is the fun part of our job. I mean, really, this is the part that we live for, which is helping people figure out that path of getting from one place to another.
Right.
How do we get to that financial security? I mean, we get paid by investing clients' assets, and we do a reasonably good job, and we do it prudently, and we have great money managers, and we have, everyone has great access to great products. But the truth of the matter is, it's having that path, the confidence that you've got a game plan to get there. And the game plan really starts, for some folks, maybe it needs to start earlier than 5 years from retirement. We, of course, want to see folks when they're really getting into that zone so that they can, I like to say it, is create the yellow brick road. I mean, that's what it is. Create that smooth glide path, so that when you're ready to pull the trigger, you can.
We're going back to the text line.
It's heating up.
It is.
And
fabulous.
We have another texter, and he wants to know, during the distribution of cash to your clients in their retirement years, do you continue to take money from the equity portion of their portfolio if the market drops dramatically? For this recent retiree, this is where we are today with the sudden drop in the market?
So I would say, and I'm sure you'll come in and add a little bit to this, but we've created a system.
Yes.
A plan, a strategy, if you will, for our clients that are taking money. We have, just like John from Rob's example earlier today, we have clients that aren't taking money on a regular basis. We call those people cash flow later. But we do have quite a few clients like this texter who are taking income. We call those cash flow now. For individuals that are taking cash flow, regardless of what the market situation is, we are always holding with between 6 to 12 months of their monthly income needs. So if you're a person taking $1,000 a month from your retirement account to supplement your Social Security, we're going to hold $6,000 in cash to the side. In markets that are more turbulent, so for example during COVID and also during this last 8 to 12 months here, we've increase that cash position to 12 months. And essentially what we feel that this does is it allows our clients to live off of the previous gains in their accounts, we hope. Also, we're not having to make decisions to make sales during turbulent market times. For example, making sales yesterday would have been great, but, making sales 5 weeks ago could have been really detrimental. So our goal is to try and take as much hope and luck out of the equation. And by planning for cash flow on a 6 to 12 month basis, we're really able to do that. So the way we look at things is we made our sales for income needs in December of last year, which means clients are able to live off of cash that was not discounted by a drop in the market. It also gives their current assets the opportunity to rehabilitate because we're not making sales in the equity portion of the portfolio or really in the bond portion of the portfolio at this point either, because that's taken as much of a turn, unfortunately, as the stock market has.
Yes, and we call this process Jeff and Jesus. Well, and it isn't that there's any divine intervention. What happens is my birthday is at the end of June. Jesus is at the end of December. So we do semi-annual rebalancing, which is where we're hopefully skimming gains, moving that into a cash account for them, and then we're making those distributions. So that's systematically what we did. But to answer your texter really specifically, as we begin to look at doing the rebalancing process for December, if the accounts continue to be down, what will happen is we'll actually be skimming money from the fixed income accounts.
Sure.
Feeding some of that into cash, but also feeding that back into the equity accounts, which have been down.
Right. So
because what you do is you
feed the losers.
You feed the losers with money from the gainers. And we do this systematically, as Aaron said. Every 6 months, it's a mechanical thing that happens. Don't care if the market's up or down.
And that is a time in which we are making some investment decisions, too, depending upon the situation. Either we're rebalancing using the same investments if we feel like the economy is going to take the same trajectory, or we're making strategic changes at that point, too.
Yes, very important. And what's also important is do us a favor. We got our fun hour number 2. We're going to be talking about Medicare and obviously answering your questions and your phone calls. Our phone lines are open. Again, we'd love to hear from you. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Frank Ellis will be joining us, our Medicare expert, and we just can't wait
to talk more open and
for a whole nother hour of Straight Talk on Retirement right here on the Big 550 KTRS. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your fixed annuities and life insurance expert.
Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Welcome to Straight Talk and Retirement. your no-hype source for financial advice and making informed choices about your retirement planning. Get on the phone to talk today at 314-931-5877 or text your question to 84126.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Now, here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Woohoo! Hour number 2. We're back on the Big 550 KTRS. And we're dedicating a large portion. Really, it's up to you guys. Whether you give us a call today at 931-5877 or 84126, because we have our resident. I like to call him famous, fabulous, Frank Ellis, in the studio with us, our resident Medicare insurance expert.
Good morning.
Good morning, Frank.
Nice to see you, Frank.
Good to be here. We're going to be talking some sweet Medicare this morning.
Sweet Medicare.
Gotta love it.
Oh, it's going to be a lot of fun. And, Frank, I know that you've had a very busy schedule, not just with seeing people, but talking on the phone, responding, writing up folks, helping them get enrolled in their annual open enrollment. Also, folks that are getting into Medicare, right, that are aging in.
It's not going any slower. I saw his schedule the next couple weeks.
Fabulous.
Busy.
We love
Busy,
this
busy.
because this is the fun time of the year where we get to talk Medicare all day long, or at least for the next 48 minutes.
That's right.
And might I add, house visits to that, too.
Oh, that's right. Some house visits now. I guess you're going to have to be real nice to Frank or Kelly, whoever schedules the appointment for you, if you're going to get a house visit.
And you have to send them home with a bag of chocolate Oreos.
What?
Rice Krispie treats, maybe?
Full service
something
Frank.
he likes.
Yeah, I like the variety box, with the chocolate, the strawberry, and the vanilla. Yeah.
I've never even seen such a thing. The things they have these days.
Well, we had to keep those away from you in your youth. What can I say?
That's fair. Well,
let's
talk about Sue.
Let's talk about Sue.
Yeah. So, as you all know, we are in Medicare, and there have been about 2 or 3 weeks that have passed now, and we've been rolling. I've been putting in a bunch of medications into the system and coming up with tiers that are changing and helping folks save money, not only from last year, being 2022, I guess this year, but going into next year for 2023, of course, with it being open enrollment. So Sue had a peculiar situation. Sue has actually been a client of ours for several years now, and whenever she retired, she decided to just select her Anthem PPO, Medicare Advantage Anthem PPO plan. After I talked to Sue, I just figured out that the reason she just went with the Anthem PPO plan, it may have been, the best for her for 5 years, and she hasn't done a review of anything, but she was comfortable with that PPO plan because she had them for her employer's coverage. So she just assumed that, it would just be best to stay with Anthem and stay under a PPO with Medicare Advantage.
Got ya. Which is not uncommon.
No, it isn't.
Yeah, a lot of people do that. A lot of people have their employer's coverage, and they feel a connection with their employer's coverage. So they decide to stay on without doing any reviews and knowing that there are better options out there. So Sue, she had some smart friends, some really smart friends. And they were having a conversation, and they were just talking about medication costs. And her friends mentioned that she is on a plan where she's not paying for some of these generic medications.
See, Frank is so much nicer than me because I say, Sue's friend's got to be so boring. What you're talking about health insurance and drug costs.
Well, they're all divorced, so they don't want to talk about their husbands.
Oh, goodness.
Or their exes.
So they come to me to talk about the drug costs.
I was going to say,
or
maybe
their
he's
children, or lack of grandchildren.
Man, this is a rough day for you. Anyway, Sweet Sue came to talk to you about the drug costs.
Yeah, so she came to the office. She set an appointment, came to the office. She said, Frank, I'm on this Anthem PPO plan, and from what I'm hearing, I don't necessarily have to be paying for some of these medications that I'm taking. Can you check to see if there's a better plan out there? So right away, in putting her medications in, and we're just talking a couple of tier 1s and a tier 4. So atorvastatin, that's a pretty common medication. Metoprolol, that's another common medication. And alprazolam. So under her Anthem PPO, the atorvastatin tier 1 had a $4 copay. The metoprolol tier 1 had a $4 copay. And the alprazolam tier 4, $95 copay.
So she's paying basically $104 a month for her medications.
Exactly, $104 a month for her medications. However, whenever we ran the review, I was able to see that alprazolam was actually going from a tier 4 to a tier 2 with none other than Aetna.
Oh, so that means we cut out one of the premiums because it was, and that's interesting because if she had been on the Aetna policy last year, it would have been a $35 copay as opposed to $4, but now it's $0.
Exactly. And that goes to show that these companies, they all have their own kind of tier plans. Now, some companies share the same tier plans. For instance, Aetna, their tier 1s are going to be $0. Their tier 2s are going to be $0. Their tier 3s are going to be $47.
Got ya.
And then the tier 4s, of course, $100 copay. Under her plan that she had with Anthem under the PPO, okay, she was paying $4 for her tier 1s, $10 if she were to have a tier 2, $42 for the tier 3, $95 for their tier 4.
Okay. So really, in the past, her plan might not have been so bad stacked up against another PPO.
So it wouldn't have been so bad, except for the fact that it's going to be down to a tier 2 now. So that's just what I love about it.
Yeah.
So going forward, that's what I love about it. We're able to save her, like we said, $110-something a month because she's not only going to not pay for those tier 1s because that's another $8 for those 2-tier medications. She's going to be able to drop that $95 and not pay anything for that tier 2 under the Aetna PPO and under the Aetna HMO because those tier 2s are $0
She's got plenty of money
copay.
for Oreos for me.
$1,200 worth of Oreos.
That's a lot of Oreos.
Well, that's fabulous, and I really think that kind of goes to show that testing your plan once a year not only costs you nothing, but it costs you if you don't.
Right.
I mean, this is what's cool is that this is the one time of the year not only do you get to do a reset, but at the same time, you can seek out some expert advice. You can find out what the other difference in the plan is. And I'm sure that there are also other healthcare differences between the Aetna plan as well as with the Anthem plan as well.
Well, I was going to say, did Sue have anything else going on that she mentioned aside from just taking her meds? Like, did she need any... because I was just taking a look at the comparison between the Aetna PPO and the Anthem PPO, and really they're relatively comparable in terms of all of the other options. So when we're talking to people in terms of your monthly your usage, your copays, and things like that, if there's a $10 difference between a copay with Aetna versus Anthem, in my mind, well, you're saving $1,200 a year on the prescriptions. So how many times are you going to see a doctor to equal that $10 difference? So even if you're paying a little bit more in some places, making up such a big difference is going to be pretty difficult.
Yeah, I think that with Sue, she was relatively healthy, just goes to the doctor a couple of times a year, sees her specialist tells her to come home, come back to me whenever you're actually feeling bad. So she is one of those ones that's very healthy, but I will say this and point this out. Each of these Medicare Advantage plans, when it comes to the PPO, has co-insurance attached to it.
Right.
Okay, that co-insurance is there for whenever you use your plan out of the network, you're going to pay a certain percentage of that bill. Okay? With Anthem, she would have been paying 50% of the insurance.
Wow.
Meaning,
that's like the highest in the area, isn't it? Or one of the highest.
From what I've seen, that is the highest.
Got you.
So meaning every time she goes to an out-of-network doctor, she'd be responsible for 50% of the cost.
Wow.
If she were to go in-network, that 50% would not apply. Of course, she would have a set copay, but out-of-network, 50%. So whereas with Aetna, with the PPO, it would be 45%. So a little bit lower there. But you know, when you're talking the bulk of a bill like that, a hospital bill or a doctor's bill like that, that 5% can make a difference.
That's a really good
out of
point.
network.
Well, I think also is all these plans truly are physician driven.
Mm-hmm.
Checking your network to make sure your physicians are they participating in lower copay option plans, lower total out of pocket option plans. Just by trading one card in for another card and being able to see your physician on the same basis really makes sense. And again, these doctors, we don't see massive changes in these physician networks, but it can happen. And you never know whether, you know, if you're visiting with someone that may be an out of network physician in one plan, they could be in the plan in another.
That's right.
They could be a participating member. So not just with the copays checking this out, but the maximum out of pocket amounts that were associated with these plans, were they different or are they pretty much the same, Frank?
So the Anthem max out of pocket for in-network is $3,900. So that's going to be a little bit lower than Aetna's max out of pocket for their PPO at $4,500 in-network.
And I think we talked about this specific benefit a little bit last week or maybe the week before, which is a lot of people focus on this particular benefit, how much in the worst case scenario. But we know that on average, you're going to hit your maximum out of pocket one time every 7 years. Mm-hmm. So to me, that's not the most important benefit. Not only that, that's Aetna actually released a report last year that showed that on their HMO and PPO Medicare Advantage plans, less than 2% of people in Missouri and Illinois hit their maximum out of pocket.
That's because your physicians are participating. They have privileges at hospitals that are in the network.
Mm-hmm.
They're not taking you outside. So you're really choosing against the plan,
mm-hmm.
which is why you revert to the PPO side.
Well, also, it's because the benefits are so great on these plans. You're not paying thousands of dollars to do things like, Frank, what if Sue needed maybe an X-ray or an advanced image, let's say a CT or an MRI on the Aetna policy, how much is she going to pay?
On Aetna, that'll be anywhere from $0 to $110 copay for the advanced imaging. With Anthem, it could be anywhere from $95 to $195.
So you're talking about a CT or an MRI. You hurt, fall, hurt your knee, something like that. You need an MRI. You're going to pay $100.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's great.
That's it. And I think with Anthem, like I said, it'd be $95 to $195.
Got you.
So she could still potentially pay $0 over at Aetna, depending on, like we said, if it's a CAT scan, MRI, EKG, whatever, some sort of radiology service.
Right. So, but at least you have a sliding scale. The most
mm-hmm.
you're going to spend is like $100. That's incredible, and that's another reason why it's going to take a lot of people. People always think, I'm healthy, I should take Medicare Advantage. I'm sick, I should take a supplement. And to me, that all of these benefits, and once you have the opportunity to sit down with someone like Frank, it really turns it on its head, because one CT scan, even if we said it was $110, is less than any supplement premium for 1 month out there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not about sickness and health. It's really about how you utilize services and how frequently you're going to utilize services.
Frank, I was going to ask, for our clients that have been sending you medications, information on medications,
mm-hmm.
so that we're checking the plans and you're giving them a lot of woohoos, this went down,
right.
etc. Are you seeing that happening?
All the time. Folks are on these Tier 4 and Tier 3 medications. They're going down to Tier 3 and Tier 2, saving them money every single month on copays. So I'm seeing it every day with these companies, Aetna, AARP, Humana, also Anthem, of course, because their HMO is pretty good as well. So we're seeing that all the time.
Are you seeing the necessity for many folks actually changing their plan that they're in to go to a different plan?
I think that for the most part, it's about half and half right now. We got a lot of clients on the Aetna plan and the ART plan. For folks that are on those other plans, like maybe your WellCare plan, maybe your Humana plan, we are seeing some significant changes with that. So it's about half and half right now.
That's good. So it really pays to look.
Oh, absolutely.
Of course, and the great thing is if maybe you're someone that's not necessarily looking for a full-fledged Medicare coaching session with Frank, you can always send him a quick email, franklin@jblfinancial.com. You have a quick question. Maybe that leads to a more in-depth coaching session, or maybe it's just a one-off and you got an answer that you can feel comfortable with because you hear Frank with us every weekend, and you know where he lives now.
Yeah, Frank,
right.
I was going to say that I know this week, a little earlier, we had a visit with one of our clients who unfortunately had a heart attack. He was in very good health, and he went through. Fortunately, he pulled through, etc. But he just came up with a slew of new medications.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, you had an opportunity to take a look at them. You were able to talk to them about actually what their out-of-pocket expenses could be for this year. And I'm sure they were probably relieved to know that most of these medications were very low copays to no copays, and that, frankly, it wasn't going to affect their budget.
Yeah, I felt a client that last year, or this year rather, I don't know why I keep saying last year, like it's 2021. So for this year, 2022, she came in the office. I looked at her medication list. You're talking about 10 to 12 different medications, so kind of high. I asked her, what was your average cost this year for your medications? How much did you spend this year, or how much do you think you're going to spend by the end of the year? She said $3,300 in medication costs.
Wow.
Running the meds for next year, I was able to save her about $2,000 because she's going to be paying right under $1,000 for those same medications next year.
That could be life-changing for some people.
Did she kiss you?
It looked like she wanted to, but she did not.
Controlled herself. Whoa. Well, and that almost brings me back to that text that we received in the last hour about, feeling unprepared for retirement. There are so many things you can do to just slightly change your situation, and sitting down with someone like Frank, it doesn't cost you anything. You don't have to pay for your Medicare coaching session. If you decide to work with us, we are paid by the insurance companies a commission, so it's never reflected in what you pay. But like my dad just said a few minutes ago, and like Frank's pointed out really clearly, is it's going to cost you not to sit down with somebody that can show you all of the options, because for people like Sue, or like the client we helped a few days ago, save $2,000 a year, that's savings they wouldn't have known about.
Mm-hmm.
So having the opportunity to have your plan reviewed, and we just talked about two people that had their health care needs are changing. So that means maybe their health insurance should change with it. Being able to sit down and talk to someone that can show you not only almost every Medicare Advantage plan that's available, but also show you those supplemental plans if that's something that you decide you want to take a look at too, really gives you the full picture of what your options are when you get to Medicare. And then you have availability to talk to someone and talk through things if something comes up that you didn't remember, didn't understand, or didn't look like what you thought it was going to look like. And that's really invaluable, because how much time does that save you? You don't have to sit on the phone for 2 hours with the customer service rep and not even know if you got the right answer.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think what you're getting to, honey, is what we've always discussed, which is clarity. The more information you have, you can make better decisions. And I've always felt that this Medicare part of our practice is so valuable to our clients because we can put a dollar number on what their healthcare costs are, assuming last year's the same as this year, et cetera, and we can really, again, work that back into their financial plan. So there isn't a mystery of what's going to happen. They can budget for it. They can deal with it. And knowing that Frank is going to be there every year, sending emails saying, hey, you have a good plan, you don't have a good plan, your meds have changed, this is what you need to think about. Because we're on the payroll.
Right.
I mean, literally, that's what happens. We are on the payroll, and it's our duty because I've made it a decision that it is our duty to stay with our clients and to do this because it's important. And we can give them the information they need. They're smart. They're going to make great decisions. And we know that when you have more information, you just make better decisions. So, Frank, I think that was wonderful today. I hope you're going to stick around after the break so that we'll get some more phone calls and texts. 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line. Let's take our first break of the hour, and then we'll be right back.
Now is when Coventry turns confusion into clarity. Coventry Healthcare has got a simple approach to care. By listening to their members, Coventry can make plans that work harder for you and your budget. The result? They offer great service and clear costs. If you're looking for a plan that's more about you, give them a call at 1-855-338-9551, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. That's 1-855-338-9551. Now is the time to call Coventry Healthcare.
Gas Appliance Service in the Fireplace and Grill Center can get your fires burning for the upcoming holidays. Call now and get ahead. New gas logs will make your home warm and inviting when you're entertaining or curled up on the sofa with a good book. See the beautiful burning displays at Gas Appliance Service near Westport or the Fireplace and Grill Center, a quarter mile east of 141 on the south side of Manchester Road. Don't wait. Now's the time for the best service, selection, and prices.
Hey, ladies, ready to order appetizers?
I don't think I should. I'm trying to cut back on spending lately.
Didn't you download that Upside app I told you about? The one that gets you cash back.
Oh, no, I didn't. Is it really worth it?
Yes, because of cash back from Upside, I haven't had to cut back, even with prices getting extremely high lately.
Wow. And what do you get cash back on again?
You get money back on gas, groceries, and it works at restaurants. Look, I'd get 37% cash back on this meal, including on drinks and apps.
All right, I'm sold. You order the apps, I'm buying and getting the cash back on Upside.
Oh no, I've created a monster.
Download the free Upside app and use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase of $10 or more. That's promo code APPS for an extra $10 on the free Upside app. Remember, use promo code APPS for an extra $10 on your first purchase. Don't cut back. Get cash back with the free app from Upside.
Got gold? Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green online at jewelsonhampton.com. Let's talk about smart choices for your money. It's Straight Talk and Retirement on the Big 550 KTRS. Here are your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
Well, we're in the middle of hour number 2 of Straight Talk on Retirement. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your fixed annuities and life insurance specialist.
We've got a ton of text. Unfortunately, fantastic, fabulous,
He
fun.
flipped out.
Frank, well, no, he has to go help his little sister move into a new apartment. So if you'd like that service from Frank, he'll probably charge for that. But he doesn't charge for the Medicare side of things.
No, and I know, Aaron, you're more than willing and capable.
We're not going to miss a single text question, so keep them coming. Take it away.
84126 on the text line or 314-931-5877.
And our first Medicare text is, please explain how Cigna has so many options on drug coverage. Some premiums super high, some policies lower. Same drugs, some 4-tier.
All of the prescription drug companies have the opportunity to design their own plans. They have to base it on Medicare's guidelines and standards for prescription drug coverage, but they are allowed to not only manipulate the benefits, but the premiums, not only to help some individuals, it really is to help you find the best policy and still make them a little bit of money. So as the premium increases, you will find that some of the benefits become more lucrative for you. For example, they will drop the deductible phase of your coverage on a standalone prescription drug plan. Or they will add more medications to certain tiers for you which is why some individuals have to have the more expensive prescription drug plans than others. In addition to that, they'll lower some of the copays on some of your prescriptions depending upon which plan you choose. So it's always a trade-off. Are you paying a little bit more up front to hopefully pay a little bit less over the course of the year, up front being premium, over the course of the year being your copays? Or are you a person that can kind of wait it out? And, you know, we mentioned a client that had an unfortunate health scare towards the end of the year. You know, you can't always count on your health, but if you're betting on yourself, then, you know, we can always make changes over the course, over multiple year periods to help reflect what your health looks like.
Well, that's why I think you also can't look at just one single drug of the number of prescriptions you're taking. You really have to feed it into look at all of them, feed it into the computer, because we should be able to tell you what your monthly cost will be, and or what your annual cost will be, assuming your medications don't change.
That's an excellent point, because it could be entirely possible if you're someone that is on quite a few medications, and one of them is on the tier 3 or 4, so that means you are paying a copay, but the rest are not. Maybe it makes sense to find a plan that has no copays for tier 1 and 2, even if you might be paying slightly more for that tier 3 or 4 medication, because it'll balance out. And that is something that Frank does on a regular basis, which is he's going to show you the best available options to you. So he'll take all of your prescriptions, because as part of our process, we ask you to fill out a medical questionnaire that says, who are your physicians, what are your prescriptions? He's going to take that as a whole and say, what's the best plan for this person? He'll be able to tell you the dollar amount per prescription that you'll pay.
314-863-0008 is how you get a hold of Frank, or send him an email, Franklin, Franklin, at jblfinancial.com.
And we've got another text, and it says, good morning. We'd love to have Frank come visit the Shawnee Forest. We do scuba diving here.
What? I was not invited on any scuba diving sessions. All I did was get to pick blueberries. I mean, that was pretty great, and I shouldn't say all I did. I also received a very delicious charcuterie board as a dinner plate.
If we send Frank, he may never come back.
I almost didn't.
Their question is, I was wondering how long it usually takes for medications to go from name brands to generics or to a different tier.
This is above my pay grade.
I think it has to do with patent exclusivity, but I'm not quite for certain.
I know that there's 70 years on patents, but what happens is, for example, Frank used with Sue, she was on atrovastatin, which is a generic of Lipitor. Now, there are some cases, for example, the reason I know this is there are some people, you know, you could take the generic for Lipitor, it's fine, but what they did was they took Lipitor and they changed the color of the pill. Now, some people are allergic to that dye that they use, and so that takes that pill away from the patent, makes it a generic, but then some people cannot take it. So there are a lot of nuances here. Unfortunately, there's not a set guideline or circumstance that the insurance companies have to use. So, for example, like we've been talking about quite frequently, Aetna made 500 positive tier changes this year. Now, that was really, I would think of it more as there aren't guidelines the insurance company has to use, but they're all vying for your business, and they all know that prescription drug costs are one of the largest pain points for individuals on Medicare. So in an attempt to garner some more market share and really become more beneficial to you as an enrollee, Aetna said this is the place we're going to focus the majority of our funds this year when they're deciding what benefits are going to look like.
I think it's, at least from my experience over the last 40 years, I can tell you, don't fight momentum.
Right. Right.
With the insurance companies, don't fight the momentum. I mean, you want to go with the flow, take advantage of what you can, and especially, I think that, to me, that's the real value of open enrollment, which is the true do-over, get to pick again, get to make a change, no pre-existing conditions, medications stay the same, happens January 1. Woo-hoo.
Before we had Frank, I would hear really frequently, this sounds too good to be true. Like, you know, I get my prescriptions covered at no cost. I get, you know, visits to my primary at no cost. I get all these extra benefits. Where's the catch? Where's the catch? The catch is this is the most expensive insurance you've ever had in your entire life. You paid taxes, you paid Medicare taxes your entire life to get it. You're still paying taxes, and you're still paying Medicare premium, even if you have a Medicare Advantage plan. So, no, it's not too good to be true. They've just finally, you're getting the benefit on the back end of what you've been paying for the last 40 years. And that's not to mention the fact you were paying for your other health insurance, too.
Well, I think the beauty here also is choice.
Right.
It's all up to you.
All right.
And to our next texter, been talking to Frank this week about signing up for Medicare Advantage Anthem BCBS Pro supplement.
Blue Cross Blue Shield PPO supplement.
You're such a noob.
I like that one, BCBS Pro supplement. You're going to go to GNC to get it?
No, that, you know what it is? The P, the second P looks like an R from here. So,
sounds like a lot of the BS sounds. CS sounds like BS.
Now
okay.
I'm sitting, several feet away from the monitor.
Yes.
I appreciate his quick responses to my questions. I understand with PPO, I can use out-of-network doctors. My preferred hospital does not accept Anthem. So that's what I said. So I would be responsible for 40% of doctor and hospital charges up to $3,900 if I use this hospital. Am I understanding this correctly?
You are, but you're not understanding the world too well.
So should I?
My friend.
So do I need to choose something besides Anthem?
I would definitely ring Frank's bell again. Send him another email because we would not, and I'm sure given this information, Frank would not recommend using the Anthem PPO in this case. And the reason for that is you are correct. You're going to pay 40% of doctor and hospitals using out-of-network services, but not up to $3,900, up to $8,900, because with the PPOs, you have in-network benefits with a maximum out-of-pocket. You also have out-of-network benefits, which would be that percentage with a different maximum out-of-pocket. Now, those two out-of-pocket maximums work together, which means if you've paid $3,900 in network, you only have the $5,050 to go out of network. But like you were talking about earlier, Dad, don't fight the plan, which is
right.
There are so many options out there. Let's find a plan for you that fits your physicians, fits your hospital, so that way you can work with the plan, going with the flow, taking advantage of all of the benefits versus fighting something because, it's going to be more costly.
Right. I mean, exactly, and if you really are in a situation where you expect that maybe you have some type of a surgical procedure or you're having some therapy that's being done, it sounds like to me that maybe Medicare Advantage may not even be the best option for you.
What makes you think they're sick?
Well, because they're choosing against the plan. I mean,
well, my preferred hospital does not accept Anthem.
Right, which means that you're Looney Tunes. You're
so
totally
aggressive with your
well, no, it's true. I mean, you're actually choosing against the plan that you've picked. There are no. I mean, virtually every hospital is a member of some network somewhere.
Sure, but I think that it just sounds like, in my estimation, that they just need to have another conversation.
Yes.
But yes, you are understanding the situation correctly. If you find out that your physician does not accept Anthem, then you will have to pay the percentage, not the copay.
Perfect.
And our next texter, I take Dupixent.
I'll go with that. And I'm closer to the screen. I don't know how to pronounce it.
For all the plans I have looked at, this is a Tier 5 drug. It looks like the plans are pretty much identical in their coverage. Do you agree? Or are there plans that provide better coverage for Tier 5 drugs?
Well, this texture has done quite a bit of research. So if they're looking for a part-time... I'm just kidding. Tier 5 is the Medicare tier. So that means that every single plan, basically every prescription drug plan, be it inside of your Medicare Advantage plan or standalone like we were discussing earlier with the different Cigna options, they're all tiered 1 through 4. Medicare adds the 5th tier, which is for specialty meds and some injectables. So that Tier 5 is going to be the same no matter which prescription drug plan you select because Medicare requires it. So that's that.
I'm glad you're here.
Thanks.
To answer these questions, honey.
Quick question. With all these changes, it seems very confusing, and it must be, must add a level of anxiety for the people that have to choose year in and year out. I mean, this is their health care and the drugs they depend on. How much does it cost to sit down with Frank to go over all this?
It costs nothing. Oh, you know what? Or it could cost you everything, right? No, it doesn't cost anything to sit down with Frank, maybe just an hour of your time, which, Tony Robbins says that's all that we have. So, I think it's a really valuable opportunity to take, October 15th through December 7th is your time to review these options. Also, if you're someone aging into Medicare and you're looking at all these choices, most people move from employer-based coverage into Medicare. That means you had someone selecting the plan for you, or you had one or two options available. There are over 54 Medicare Advantage plans available in the metro area this year, almost as many prescription drug plans. You have a whole host of supplemental plans available. Not that they are all vastly different, but they all are different. You have different needs. So it's really important that you sit down with someone that can show you all of the options, or as many as possible, and walk through what you need. And not only that, they're going to walk through what you need on an annual basis, because we hope that your health stays the same and consistent through many years. And most of the time, for many people, it does. But in the events when things change for the better or the worse, we'd also like to be available to help you change your health insurance to make it match for the better or for the worse.
Good deal.
That's right. So just give Frank a call, 314-863-0008. Can send him an email, franklin@jblfinancial.com, or you can just log on to the website, jblfinancial.com, click on the upper right-hand corner in the Contact Us section, sends an email that says, hey, I'd like to chat with Frank, or I heard something on the radio and I want to chat with Frank, and we will get you over to Kelly, our office manager, get an appointment set up, and we're offering phone appointments, Zoom appointments, in-person appointments. The only thing that is constrained is time, so if you're thinking about it, give us a call, because Frank's schedule is filling.
Yes, and the reason is that because of you, our listeners.
That's right.
We're one of the top Medicare-producing agencies in the state of Missouri because of you. So we say thank you, and we're happy to help everybody that we can. And we're probably going to help over 300 of our listeners, new listeners this year, which is just fabulous.
I haven't even been able to count how many appointments Frank's had since October 1st. It's been incredible. So,
and we're doing it during the year, too, and that's the important part.
All throughout the year.
Exactly. So it's great. And what's fun is that I'm getting emails every day from other financial advisors saying, can we send our Medicare people to Frank? It's like, yeah.
That's even better. We're one of the few advisory firms in the area that's going to offer both the financial advisory services, but also Medicare planning, because we know that those are some of the top concerns that individuals have facing retirement is cash flow and medical expenses. So we're here to tie those two things together for you and really put some numbers to them.
Okay, but let's take our second break of the hour. We get back, we'll be here to answer your questions at 314-931-5877 and the Heating Up text line at 84126. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Now is when a small change can make a big difference. If you're not happy with your current Medicare coverage, take a look at Coventry Healthcare. They have a wide range of plans with great service and clear costs, including medical and drug coverage in one simple plan. Just call 1-855-338-9551, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. That's 1-855-338-9551. Now's the time to call Coventry Healthcare.
In Town and Country, there is a community located on 21 beautiful rolling acres, making it hard to believe it's a retirement community. It's Marie de Villa, offering a wide variety of senior living options. They've enjoyed consistent management and ownership. Explore all of the amenities that Marie de Villa offers by going online to mariedevilla.com or call 636-227-5347. Marie de Villa has it all.
Yeah, I'm so stressed. Our business is growing. We've got people all over now.
Ooma.
What is that? Meditation?
I'm recommending Ooma and their all-in-one phone, video, and collaboration solution.
Ooma?
Yep. Switching to Ooma is a cinch. just $24.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Now you're feeling it. Visit Ooma.com. That's OOMA.com to learn more. Ooma. Smart communications for the smarter business.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newsletter's Fine Jewelers. Let Rich your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Now, the opinions you hear on KTRS are those of the host. Big 550 KTRS. Here are Jeff and Aaron Lapidus.
That's right. We're back for the last 15 minutes here at the Big 550 KTRS. I'm Jeff Lapidus, the retirement coach.
I'm Aaron Lapidus, the retirement coach.
And I'm Robert Markham, your life insurance and fixed annuities specialist.
We are willing waiting, and we're wanting to answer your questions at 314-931-5877 or 84126 from the text line.
You know,
I know what you were going to say, babe, which is why I'm interrupting you temporarily. Because I was out to dinner last night. Went to Hodak's.
For fried chicken?
I didn't eat fried chicken, but we went there. It was with some friends. It was really a lot of fun, and obviously thank them and your mom for agreeing to go there. But while we're sitting at dinner, we were talking, and this friend of ours, he happens to own a small contractor. Actually, nice-sized contractor. He said, he was going to be retiring at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of fun, and he's passing his business on to his boys, etc., which is kind of neat. They've been working with him some time, and he's made that transition. And emotionally, he's like, my other buddies are getting ready to leave. Jeff, when are you going to retire? I didn't do that.
Laugh?
No, I didn't laugh.
Oh.
Your mother did. So she she looked at me and she said, no.
Never.
Never. No. You're not
Never
retired.
know.
And, it's so nice because we have this beautiful new world headquarters.
Mm-hmm.
2 miles down from my home. My sanctuary, my sandbox. And so it's fun for me to be able to go in and obviously work with you and Rob. So the truth is, I'm not going anywhere. And I really don't want to. And I've also not been given permission either, by the way, to do that.
We'll allow you to stay.
Well, thank you, babe. I do appreciate that. Can I keep my office?
For now. I feel like you really set that up for me really nicely.
I don't like you.
That's so true.
Okay, but let's get to some real questions that we've been getting.
Absolutely. And Lewis from Chesterfield wrote, I would like to roll over my qualified pension 5-year payout into an IRA. I have heard of Section 415 limits. How much can be rolled over tax-free, and what are these limits?
Oh, this is a good one. This is like a technical question. I love that. Well, the 415 limits don't really apply here. Okay?
Okay.
So what we're looking at is we're looking at a situation where if you want to roll those over, you have to get, if you're married, your spouse to approve, sign off on it.
And notarized.
Notarized.
And the reason for that, and I had a we just had a chat with clients that are doing something similar a few days ago, and the wife asked why that needed to happen. And it's really because if you have access to a pension with survivor benefits, then as the surviving spouse, potentially, you are giving up potential benefits by doing the lump sum.
Right, and ERISA protects you, which is the Employee Retirement Income Security Act of it might be like 1976 or something. But it's been around for a long time, which is why even when you're, anytime you're in a situation where you can have an opportunity to take a monthly income versus a lump sum, if you are encumbered.
Or you have a quadro, so you have a divorce decree.
You do have to have your spouse sign off on those, and so that's kind of easy to do. But the 415 limits really apply to maximum contributions. So as an example, like this year we know that this year, i.e. in 2023, the 401k limits have been raised.
That's right.
So we know that with the catch-up provision, a person over the age of 50 could put aside up to as much as $30,000 per year into a 401k, assuming that they're not in the highly compensated group, and that plan, because of the contribution rates by other employees, isn't limiting them.
Right. So in general.
In general, that's right.
Okay.
Good question.
And we've got another texter, and he says, when I reach rock star status financially, it will be in the form of a hair band rock star 1980 style. Great show and advice, Mike from Marthasville. Thank you, Michael, for the kind words. Appreciate that.
I also like the reference.
Send me a pic.
Like Poison or something.
Yeah,
every rose.
We love
has
the
its
1980s,
thorn.
aesthetically, musically,
culturally.
It's for us. It's the 1980s are like what I guess you would say the 1950s are to our parents and grandparents. It's a golden age, and I feel so bad for the kids that don't get to see it. No, I really do. Saturday morning cartoons, Ronald Reagan, the whole bit. It's great stuff.
Morning cartoons and Ronald Reagan. What kind of childhood did you have?
The best one. And these kids who are deprived of a 1980s upbringing, I feel very, very sad for them. Thank you, Michael.
Yes.
Well, and Michael, I can tell you that we're certainly hopeful that you do get to rock star status. But
oh yeah.
But sitting in coaching sessions with prospective clients, folks that come to say, "Why don't you help me create that game plan?" Once they realize that they are rock stars, they have enough capital, they have enough cash flow to make their life work, so they can retire. Many of them find that they actually can retire earlier than they think that they can. And I think that is empowering in itself, because then the reins have really been taken away from their bosses and put into their hands.
Right. The world is their oyster. They get to decide.
Right. And, I think in many cases what that's also done is made them better employees, because they can go back to work the next day and say, you know what? I can do the best job I can. I don't care if these people want to get rid of me, because guess what? I can say goodbye to them any day I want.
That's a great place to be in.
Right. Yeah, it really is a fun place to be in. We did receive another recent question, text mail, which was, my will was revised 10 years ago, and I have recently moved to the state of Missouri. Do I need to have it updated? The answer is yes. It's very important because each state has their own language, own provisions, and certainly the estate tax laws have changed rather significantly in the last 10 years. We went from, $1 million, $2 million unified credit exemption. Now we're at $11.5 million.
Right.
Still going up. The IRA laws have changed. So if you have a trust, whether assets are going into a trust, does that make sense now? Or maybe we're just making the beneficiaries directly to those folks? Good reason to get good legal advice.
Yep.
So your stuff's old. And the other thing is that most wills 10 years ago didn't include either the medical directives
or the durable power of attorney.
Yes, babe, exactly. And so having those provisions really turns it from a will into a living will, and that's really what you need, which is to have those protections in there should you become ill and been unable to communicate your wishes or have an accident. Right?
Yeah.
And moving on to our next question. Kevin from Glen Carbon wrote, I have a Medicare Advantage plan. I am taking my grandkids to Orlando. My wife asked me if one of us needs medical attention, will it be covered since we're outside the network area?
Remember that time Mickey poked me in the eye?
Yeah, I had to make up a story. I had to make up a song about Mickey.
How did you provoke Mickey?
Excuse me, how is it that I'm the victim here?
Mickey just goes around poking innocent children?
I tried to hug. Right.
Yeah.
I tried to get a hug from Mickey, and he poked me in the eye instead. It's really just devastating. Luckily, like our texter's health insurance, my health insurance traveled too. So if you are an emergency because you've been attacked by a cuddly Disney creature, your Medicare Advantage plan will cover you as if you are in network. The only thing that your Medicare Advantage plan won't do is they will not cover you for what's called voluntary care. So let's say after your interaction with Mickey, you want to go to a dermatologist because you've been out in the sun a little bit too much. They're not going to let you go. Or you're going to have to pay out of pocket for that on a Medicare Advantage plan if you're out of the service area. But for anything emergent or urgent, you're going to be covered as if you were in network, no matter where you are in the country.
That's very good to know.
That's really good. I mean, certainly what's neat is if you're not covered by Medicare, your company health insurance really runs the same way.
Right. So exactly, travels with you.
Easy one to do. I do have a couple of other questions here if Rob doesn't mind. And
well, not that much time, so let's get it going.
Okay. What documents do you request to have available to review during a coaching session? And how often do you visit with a client each year? Is there a separate fee for these visits? So this was like a threefer.
There is never, we do not offer a la carte services, so there are never separate fees for everything that we provide for you. We charge 1% annually for the money that we manage, and that includes all of our visits, all of our phone calls, all of our emails, all the work that we do for you. We like to see our clients at least 4 times a year, and we make the effort to reach out to them.
Yes, and we generally we see most of our clients twice a year in person, and usually
a couple of phone calls. But we're always available because, again, we are on their payroll. Oh, and then the other question was, what documents do we bring along?
Yeah, so what we're talking about is we ask them to bring investment statements about the current plans they're participating in, whether it's after-tax plans like brokerage accounts or 401k, 403b plans, etc. We also ask them to bring a copy of their will and trust agreement if they have them. Those are important documents to see. And
any other financial documents you might have, insurance contracts.
A copy of last year's tax return is also important and valuable.
Life insurance policy.
And then really anything else you want us to look at so that we can get a better picture of you financially. And we're talking about not something written down on a piece of paper.
No,
we really need to see the actual statements themselves. Because if we're in a situation where we decide that, hey, we want to go to visit,
you can make some decisions here, yeah.
That's right. We'll have the information instead of having to wait and get it a different.
Also, there are things on the statement that you as an individual might not find important, but as we're delving into what we're using this for, what you're using this for, what the product actually is, it is important for us to be able to see the full statement from the insurance company, the life insurance company, whatever happens to be.
Yeah, and what I like to do is in each of these coaching sessions that we have with folks that are prospective clients, is really make it clear that we're not asking for these statements so that we can do a study of ours is better than yours. Because ours is always better. We're the ones making the comparison. But the truth is that if we're going to analyze and look at your asset allocation, we're going to be looking at not only the individual investments themselves, but also the mix, where they're fitting into your portfolio, what you're doing in and out, synergizing. It's just important to have all that information available to you and to us so that we can provide you information. Hopefully you can make some very good decisions. But coaching sessions are easy. They're done in our offices and all of that. We'd love to see you. If you need to do a Zoom or a telephone, that's cool too. Easy to do, 314-863-0008, 314-863-0008.
The opinions voiced in this show are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial advisor or tax advisor prior to investing. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group, a registered investment advisor. Private Advisor Group and JBL Financial Services, Inc. are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Be listening next week at 9 for more Straight Talk on Retirement with your retirement coaches, Jeff and Aaron Lapidus, on the Big 550 KTRS.
Now is when a small change can make a big difference. If you're not happy with your current Medicare coverage, take a look at Coventry Healthcare. They have a wide range of plans with great service and clear costs, including medical and drug coverage in one simple plan.
Just call 1-855-338-9551, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week. That's 1-855-338-9551. Now's the time to call Coventry Healthcare.
If you're turning 65 this year, you face one of the most critical choices for your retirement game plan: enrolling in Medicare Part B and choosing your Medicare supplement. I will help you safely navigate this process and find the health insurance plan that best works with your new Medicare coverage. Getting started is easy. Call me at 314-863-0008, 318-863-0008 to arrange for a free health insurance coaching session, or email me at aaron@jblfinancial.com.